Hello. I think you guys can hear me now. I don't know why OBS suddenly decided to switch my microphone. Anyway. Hello, konnichiwa, hola, hola everyone. Welcome to the stream. My name is Leo. I'm your resident demi-vampire singer and professional simp. And today, we're playing It Gets So Lonely Here. A Yuri visual novel from what I read. We're playing the itch.io version because Steam is down. There's something going on and it's not working, and so I didn't get the chance to download the game earlier today. And I tried like an hour before the stream and it still wasn't letting me, so I got the itch.io version instead. But yeah, hello Khan. I think you're running away from me. Running away from the intrusive thoughts. I don't know. Are you a cute demon girl? Because then, maybe. Hello, Gobama. Welcome. So, with that, all I know about this game is that it is a Yuri visual novel. There are various different endings, as usual. And that it will probably take us 2 streams to beat. So, let us get started, shall we? I don't think I need to adjust any of the things here, so I'm just gonna start. You're running through a forest. Oh, so we get right into it. Also, this author or like developer seems to have like a bunch of free visual novels that I kind of want to check out. But this is the first one that I remember seeing around a while back. Possible. Okay, you're running through the forest. It is late at night and the sky is as black as pitch. I'd never heard it word like that way. Are there changes for the intrusive thoughts to win? Are there chances? Probably. From what little I've seen about this, most likely. There is nothing to light your way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. I also like the music of this. It's really pretty. Just let me lower the volume a little bit on my end because it's a bit loud in my ears. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the glow. I can't. Why am I having trouble reading today? The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. Oh yeah, okay, I understand. You cannot see where you are going. Joy. Even if you had commenced your flight at the more sensible hour, however, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you are going. You have no map, no route, no plan. Then why on earth am I running through the forest? You are running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. You have no desire as you run, save to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught. If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. You have no choice, therefore, but to keep going, on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. And it gets darker and darker. Oh dear. You have no idea how long you have been running. The time has begun to blend together. It has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what has happened. Climb a tree. They don't know how to climb trees. But how do we know? We don't even know what we're escaping from. But you do not have the luxury. Okay, yeah. Instead, you tug. Your skirt tears, the sound splitting through the forest, and you stumble forwards with a shocked gasp. You are free, but at what cost? Your skirt has been irrevocably damaged. I mean, if you're running for your life, I don't think that's a big concern unless you end up naked, then I would be concerned. It might be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. Exactly. See? If you do not start running again, and soon, she will catch you. So we're running away from someone. From a girl. Then, your life will be over. You do not know if she's still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. If you were to see her, silhouetted beneath a tree, looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you. I've never seen that word before. You would lose what little nerve you possessed. Your legs would lock up and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then you would crumple. You would fall, but you would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you. Did she not promise when you made that contract that you would never be alone? Oh, you would like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it is too late for that. It is too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. In my experience, most things can't climb unless you're being chased by the strangers. Then you just run. I mean, true, I guess. Sorry, I was checking that everything was working properly with chat. Yeah, I do believe that most animals and things can't really climb trees, but a person, you never really know. Prediction, they're running either from their mother or the Baba Yaga. Ooh, the Baba Yaga. Actually, there's another visual novel that uses the Baba Yaga, right? I think that's Cooking Companions? Question mark? You run and run and run while icy fog swirls about your feet. It is cold enough to snap the heat from your body, and you shudder from it. It feels as though you're drowning. It feels as though you're being buried alive. Your knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. Oh no! You cannot endure much more of this. Oh yeah, running like that, yeah, eventually your body's just gonna give out. But if you value your own life, you must. You run, and you run, and you run, until, at long last, you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself though, not when you have put so much effort into running forwards. You can only press on. The 3 paths are signposted, which is something of a strange sight given you are so deep in the forest. Cooking Companions, yeah, they're working on a sequel to that. Ooh, I'm interested. I think I did see like a demo around for a little bit. So I'm excited. I never played the original one, but I have a kind of a vague idea of what it is about. Maybe I should add that onto the list. The 3 paths are signposted, which is okay. Dark though it may be, you have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick out the writing on this old, dilapidated signpost, carved and slanted though it is. Your fate, if you will forgive me for sounding cliché, is in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? So the narrator is talking to us, huh? Can I save? Yay, I can save. Perfect. There we go. Go to the shore, go to the village, go to the castle. Ooh, castles, huh? Let's go to the castle. I'm interested. I'm an XZ runner. That's all part of the experience. I mean, I guess. But still, it's like, ouch. So you want to go to the castle? Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in the castles once they're beleaguered. What? Beleaguered, put upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princess they once dreamed of. Oh, that's not why, but sure. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may be very well deserted, or the village, which will be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? I didn't even think of that. It is far better to skip the suffering and go straight to the grand finale. That is very astute of you. I did not realize you had it in you to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your moonlight meanderings. The night is far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. I hope only that you have brushed up on your courtesies. They might come in handy when one is interacting with a sovereign. Royals can be temperamental after all. True. I would know. If you fail to treat them with the prerequisite amount of respect, you might come to regret it. You follow the path which leads to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs, which feel ready at a moment's notice to detach from your hips. You're a little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long. Oh, you're little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb. You feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainly. Oh, this narrator is vastly overestimating us, right? Right? I don't know about that, but like, I just thought, ooh, castle, pretty. I like castles. And it's also a reference for another thing, but that's not important. Clumsy and ungainly. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. Your only hope as you continue to run, you will find a spare room available for you in the castle. You do not know what exactly will await you at the castle, but you have visions as you run of a vast, opulent dwelling. Again, that's just XC running. This dwelling will surely be full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest for your weary head. There must also be a king and a queen inside this castle, you ponder, who will be kind and wise. And what of their children? What of a princess? Every good castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you and your plight. Not necessarily. I feel like oftentimes that's not the case. You can imagine the face of this gorgeous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. The princess will be fair of hair and blue of eye, with soft pink lips pursed like rosebuds. Her limbs will be slender, her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and her sensibilities will be sweeter than marzipan. She will be kind to you and compassionate, just like an older sister. You do not know what older sisters are like, though, or younger sisters, for that matter. You're only guessing. That got a little too personal. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know from Borasha's reading, have the best track record when it comes to caring for the peasantry. Let's be honest, 90% of royalty are horrible people. Yep. Pretty much. Unless it's Disney royalty, then most of them apparently are very nice, but still questionable. Was there not a very famous queen who once said, with a cavalier wave of her hand, that the hungry peasants in her kingdom should content themselves with cake if bread was not an option? That sounds oddly familiar. You think that this might be a misquote, but the point still stands. The royals are supposed to grant their subjects succor in their time of need. This does not always happen. In fact, it very rarely happens. Kings and queens and princesses and princes are just people at the end of the day, and they are subject to the same caprices that all humans are. Also, the Canada being beautiful, they're wearing bread and bulldog, I guess. I mean, bulldogs are pretty. I am biased because I find all dogs cute in their own way, but I don't know, the way that this is being worded and all of that, it's making me think that maybe there will be no pretty delicate princess awaiting for me in the castle. They can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. There is no guarantee that this mythical princess of your imagination will help you. Why, there's no guarantee that this mythical princess exists at all. Still, you must try. I mean, you're not wrong. It's just a funny picture in my head. It is this hope which keeps you going. You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you do it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It is still cold, though, and foggy, and very, very dark. Cleopatra's family tree was a circle. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can see it. I can see that. Is it? The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. The stone edifice of the building is imposing, and it drowns you in shadows darker than the depths of the deepest ocean. The castle is not all dark, though, not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights flickering within, in the narrow, slitted windows. It would appear that somebody's home. No worries, God, that's okay. A king and a queen, perhaps? What of their servants? What perhaps more pressingly of their guards? You half expect as you stand there that armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of king and queen so-and-so. Piano! Do you not know your place, foolish peasant girl with the dirty skirt? Begone with you. You are not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one, or rather, they were, before your father made a series of poor financial decisions. You do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and your dirty skirt, which is torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be surprising. But though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in front of your filthy skirt, you do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on inside the castle, but there is nobody outside of its perimeter standing sentry. There is nobody to impede your entry, and the elaborate iron gates which are set into the vast stone walls about the castle's exterior are open, just a crack. It would be a trivial matter to slip inside. There is nobody to stop you. Her dad invested in NFTs. No, not the NFTs. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You have come so very far. It would be an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on, go. You inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has at long last begun to fail you. And then you step forwards. I like this narrator. It's very sassy sometimes. You slide between the wrought iron gates and stealthy as a secretive as a thief, then cross the path which leads up to the tall, imposing structure. The domed doorway which leads you into the castle itself, hewn from stone, is closed, but at a push of your palm, it swings inwards. So it's probably an abandoned castle, question mark? Or whoever is in there is so powerful that they don't need any like guards or anything to keep them safe. The door creaks. Oh yeah. You inhale at this and glance around your eyes, darting hither and thither. Like me! Yes, kind of like you. Maybe the narrator is also the intrusive thoughts. If there are any guards posted about the castle's grounds, they should have been alerted by that sound. Will they come out for you at long last? What will happen should they catch you? Will they throw you in the dungeons? Or the plague? True. That could also be it. That does not sound like a pleasant way to spend the night. At least, you have a roof over your head. And you would not have to keep walking. Let's hope they don't like murder, right? Although, we might not be so lucky. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an indeterminable amount of time, your heart pounding a panic, irregular rhythm in the base of your throat. You just reminded me of that meme of like, finally, a worthy opponent. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. Loads musket. You are thankful for your good luck, though it does make you wonder. Where is everybody? Why is it almost as if all the people in the world have disappeared? Could you be the very last human left alive? You frown, then press your palm back against the door. That scared me. You push less cautiously this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There is no point in worrying about the guards, not when they might very well be non-existent. Your entry to the castle secured. You then take a step forwards. The door swings shut behind you, and the resultant slam makes you jump. Our battle will be legendary. You did not expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs, and with wild eyes you glance about. You are standing in a vast entrance hall made of stone which splits off into any number of passages. At the very end of the hall, meanwhile, there is a large, elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend to the heavens themselves. It is dark inside the hall, but there are numerous torches set in sconces? Sconces? I don't know how that's pronounced. In the stone wall, which are aflame. They offer some relief from the shadows. You can hear the faint sound of the wind outdoors, as it moans against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps. You cannot hear any voices. Is this the vampire from the Ballads at Midnight? Is this a crossover? You cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle is empty. If that is the case, though, then who lit these torches? Maybe it's magic and it's like infinite fire. It is a curious conundrum. You muster up what remains of your courage and cry out, addressing the empty hall in timorous voice which fails to properly fill up the space. Hello, you say, your eyes wide. Is anybody there? Your voice echoes through the vast empty hall, but it is met yet again with silence. You cannot say you are too surprised, but it is somewhat disappointing. Not one to be deterred, you try again and again, your voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anybody is here, they do not seem to be particularly sociable. Oh yeah, I know you're like picking a battle against the narrator. That, or perhaps they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Yes, that must be it. You will never find that pretty fairytale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know? It is time to get to work. Put those legs of yours to good use. I mean, weren't they of good use before when I was running away? Not knowing what else to do. Is there anything else you can do? You begin to explore. You examine the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are of similar scale to the impressive entrance hall, large and richly furnished, but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimless meandering, encountering nobody save the ghosts of eons past memorialized on portraits upon the walls, you muster the courage to ascend to the second floor. This floor, too, you examine, wandering through a seemingly endless series of hallways until, at long last, you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack in the door and the jamb, you can see flickering light. Irregular, yes, but it is light nonetheless. Could it be from a fireplace? That would suggest, then, that this room is occupied, unlike all the others. And the music stopped. Perhaps the kindly princess you dreamed of will be awaiting you in this room? It is with a trembling hand that you press your palm against the door. You push it. Then you step inside the bedchamber, which unveils itself to you. I had a hard time deciphering that this was the bed. Shyly you stand at the threshold of the chamber, much of your courage extinguished, and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. It is a chamber so luxuriant, not even the shadows can obscure the fine craft of the furniture within it, nor the rich patterns on the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. She pretty! Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering four-poster is a girl in a sumptuous red gown who seems to be of age to you or something. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze directed downwards at her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender calves, which protrude from beneath the hem of her dress, that she is very pretty. Why her calves? How is that telling? Oh! ちょっと待ってね. Give me a moment, guys. Real quick. I'm back. My mom called me on the phone to ask for something. Anyway. Oh, my YouTube chat died. Give me a second, guys. There it is, I think. There it is. Perfect. Here's the game. Here's the chat. There we go. Yeah, I don't trust this. It's a trap. A trick trap, not the other kind. Maybe? But she pretty. Look at her. Like, it might be a trap. I still have my guard up because, you know, but still. I'm just confused. Why are her slender calves the things that this protagonist like? Yeah, she's very pretty. She has slender calves. She has very nice calves. So therefore, she must be really pretty. Like, why is that the thing? The girl's hair is golden, just like freshly cut wheat. But it is the red of her dress which truly captures your attention. Not a tall woman, so don't like. Maybe she's taller than she shows in this little sprite. Or PNG. She's so striking you cannot look away from her. I mean, she is pretty. Oh. The girl is not alone in her chamber either. She has a companion, though this companion is not half so endearing as she. In her lap, perched upon her velvet skirt, is a doll. The doll's hair, like that of her mistress, is golden. Sorry, though much of it is hidden beneath the bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup held in the doll's tiny hand, while the rim of the cup glints in the light which exudes from the fireplace. If the girl is of a similar age to you, it seems strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for it? I mean, no shame in playing with dolls at this age, because they're cute. This girl would be more at home, you decide, at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. Never trust a doll indeed. She should not be sitting in what you presume is her bedchamber, adjusting a teacup in a doll's hand. But you are not afforded much time to stand there, marveling at the girl, because she turns. She raises her head. Then, her eyes meet yours. The doll has seems surreal shit. Right? It's like looking deep into the abyss. You thought the girl pretty when you first observed her, sitting on the edge of her plush velveteen bed, examining her doll. Now she is looking at you, however, her face illuminated by the flames in their grate. You can see that you were mistaken. She is not just pretty. She is beautiful. So much so, it's breathtaking. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she is some kind of vision? A waking dream? A hallucination? But no, she is none of those things. The doll in her lap is a cold, hard thing made of porcelain, and it is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she would not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl who's holding it. She's so startlingly beautiful, she even puts man-made representations of feminine charms to shame. The sight of her makes you feel rather weak. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? I mean, you are rather hopeless when it comes to them. Even worse than a knight-errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but... Well, it is not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, attired in red, illuminated by the firelight. I suppose I can forgive you for this rudeness, as too can the girl. Huh. That is very interesting phrasing, dear narrator. Anything you want to explain? She broke into this castle after running in the forest for hours, and the first thing she talks about is her view. I mean, she is pretty. I would have been like, oh yeah, she's breathtaking, and then maybe move on, but, you know, she very pretty. Damn, I hit the nail on the head. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Oh, the girl says in a voice that's surprisingly enough far less refined than her appearance. It is good to see you. I've been waiting. Oh? Has she? That is news to you. You blink, perplexed. A response on the tip of your tongue, but you are unable to expel it into the ether. The girl is setting her doll aside, then... I can't read. The girl is setting her doll aside. Then she stands, the hem of her dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly like a ballerina, she canvases the space between you. Her room is so very large that there is quite a lot of space. Then takes your hands in her own. You must, the girl says, her eyes aglow with excitement. Be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it's such a relief that you finally arrived. I knew that you would. Sure. You'd never leave me alone. Not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy. The girl's good mood is contagious, so much so you find yourself being swept away in it. It's a trap! You are tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. You have never been a maid before, but you might not mind being the girl's maid. She does not seem like a poor mistress to serve, not if she's always this kind. You cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You are not a good enough actress, and in any case, this is all happening too quickly. Why, you barely know this girl. Why is she being so very familiar? It is with blank, bovine eyes that you examine the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. I don't trust happy people. She frowns. Well, she's not happy anymore. See? Then, she says, her fingers sliding away from your arm. Or am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all? The disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so your heart plunges. You do not know her. She is still a stranger, but you are struck, all of a sudden, with the intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. The thought is devastating. You were not aware, you tell her, that you had applied to be her maid, but if that is what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country and you have traveled for many miles. You know not where you are and do not know who she is. What? You don't know who I am? It is regrettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her, though that is no fault of her own. Why, you have spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself. Actually, that makes it worse. I hate fake happy people. Ah, so you're a fugitive then, from another country. I see. I won't pry into your past then, if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everybody... Okay, no, now she's gonna trauma dump me. Everybody in this country knows who I am. after all. Or at least they should. Now this is quite the impressive boast. If it were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. You get the feeling instead that she is merely telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and my mother were the king and the queen of this realm, and I am its princess. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I know that other countries do exist out there. I presume it is from one of these foreign countries that you come from. It is very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. It feels like quite the opportunity. The girl giggles at this, and you smile in response. You tell her unthinkingly that it is your pleasure, really, to meet her. Or at least, you mean to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. You come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say she was a princess? Yes, that's right. I'm a princess. And one day, I'll be a queen. After I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet. But I've been doing my best at my lessons. One day, I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was. I'm gonna be a mighty king. So she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given she lives in the castle, but it comes as a surprise regardless. You hadn't known before you entered this chamber that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. But then why is the castle so empty? Why, if she willed it, she could have she could have you executed for your carelessness. Oh, she's a she's a trust fund baby. I like her even less now. An ugly red flush creeps up your face, a flush which is far more lurid than the princess's dress, as you look to your feet. Bashfully, you stammer at a new address, that you are very sorry for intruding upon her, and you hope that she can forgive you. Oh, it's alright. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes. And anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here. You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You are not from this world at all. Oh? I am feeling suddenly very attacked. How wonderful! I look forward to picking your brain later. All of my servants come from the nearby village. Their tales are all the same, and so are their superstitions. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long. I hardly ever get the chance to talk to other girls my age. My last lady's maid was older than me, and so was the one before her, and the one before her. Okay, she's crazy. Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning, by degrees, into something rather more pensive. But I haven't seen any of my old lady's maids in a while, or any of the servants for that matter. They've all disappeared. Now that is quite curious. How could a whole household full of servants simply disappear? That I don't know. This castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and a large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explain anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. How old are you? It is so tiring. She said that her minister sent her servants away? What of her parents, the king and the queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy? They would, yes, if they were still alive. But they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants. Oh, you answer, and then you flush. You hadn't known. It's alright, you don't need to apologize. I'm just happy that I have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls to speak to. They aren't the best conversational partners. You can imagine so, yes. Okay, I actually trust her slightly more now. If what she's saying is true, she doesn't know how to do shit. I mean, true, it doesn't seem like she's really... Like, they didn't teach her much about how to do things on her own. Without any doll, even one made by a talented assistant with an intelligent face indistinguishable from a human's, would be very good at answering back. Oh no, they aren't. They're hopeless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You've no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle is so big, and without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here. Title drop. Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? Oh, you cheeky little narrator. You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew. In that curiously conversational manner of hers, which does not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. That would explain why her consonants are so unrefined. Oh, but listen to me. Yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. Roll credits. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you to your room? Yes, the princess announces before you can say anything in reply. I think I'll do just that. I might show you a bit around the castle first, though. It's like amazing here. I wouldn't want you getting lost. You'll be staying here for quite some time after all. Am I? The princess then hastens to take you on a tour of her home. More creaky doors. Fortunately, she does not show all of her rooms inside. She does not show all of the rooms in her abode, and neither does she offer very long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens, where she offers you some victuals. Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark, twisting hallway and up a series of equally dark, twisting steps until she arrives, at long last, before a door. I mean, where else are we going in the woods? I don't know, maybe we could try the shore they were talking about earlier. Or the village, I don't know. The princess pushes this door aside summarily, thus permitting you entrance to a small, humble bedchamber. Oh, I don't like the sign of that. This chamber is not half as opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, which is resplendent with its resplendent four-poster and its richly patterned wallpaper. This room's ceiling is not as high, and the singular red shelf against the wall is thin and narrow. The walls are an unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles is of warped wood. There is a mulderous scent, too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. You get the feeling that nobody has slept in this room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so very cold in here. Though if the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, is that it is cold in every room in her abode. Now here we are, the final stop of our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it is to your liking. The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you. Her eyes upturned like those of a loyal dog's. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid that you will turn up your nose at her kindness. For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her ingratiating attitude makes you smile. Or intrigated, I didn't read that properly. The room is rather scantily, yes, when it comes to its contents, but it's more than passable. It has a roof and 4 walls, and though it is cold, you fancy you will feel warmer once you have slept beneath the bed sheets. The room is not quite so fancy as your dormitory at the conservatoire, and neither it is so large, but it does have a glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. You will not be expected to share it with anybody else. There is only one bed in this room, and this bed is to belong to you. You think that the peace and the quiet will do a world of good. Where are you sleeping? The fireplace? Maybe. I don't see the bed either, but maybe it's like on the side where you can't see it. You tell the princess as much, and she smiles. That's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof in this tiny teeny room, which is all cramped. I think it was teeny tiny and I read it backwards. There's 10 beds up there, and they're so close together there's barely any room to pass between them. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it the last time I went up there. Not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day and I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd be sulking around, I don't think she would have been best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you up there though, in the attic, with all those empty beds. I didn't think it'd be very cheery. You're not just a scullery maid, you're my lady's maid. That means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now, it's getting late. You'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I've heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming for a lady. The housekeeper has warned me enough times. You assure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You do not mind if she talks too much. That is better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easier to spend time with her. Manners be damned. You are always scolded too back in the conservatoire for your behavior. You know full well how aggravating it can be to be upbraided, not for any particular misdemeanor, but for being yourself. Well, I'm glad you understand, the princess answers with a giggle. I should really be off though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow. If you don't mind my ceaseless prattle, I'm glad you seem to appreciate it at least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All my old maids did. The princess departs, and in her absence, you take a seat upon the bed, your new bed. You cannot help but think that this is all happening very quickly. It does not seem like very long ago that you were still in the forest running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, grasping branches. The forest might as well be a distant memory now, though. You are indoors, inside a castle no less, and you have been given a room in which to sleep and clothes that you may wear. It seems premature, still, to declare that you are out of the woods, in a metaphorical sense, but things could certainly be worse. You force yourself to stand on legs which feel too weary to support you, and change into the nightclothes hanging in the wardrobe. The night clothes do not fit you perfectly, but you are too tired to care about that. You are too tired to care about much of anything. You retreat to the bed and slide beneath its sheets. Then, you let your eyelids fall shut. You exhale. And lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors, you fall asleep. You are so very tired. Your sleep is a deep, dark one. Darker even than the furthest abysses of the nighttime. Going to wake up with your organs missing? No, she's gonna trade me to the black market. Like the nighttime sky, however, which shimmers with stars, your sleep is not devoid of those prismatic fragments you humans call dreams. So the narrator is not human. Though in this case, I rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They're not dreams, are they? To which your slumbering mind is subjected? You know that they are not. Otherwise, your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. They even said pick your brain. I mean, true, they did say that. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids, like the ghostly images in a phanakiscope, or not conjured from within your mind. They were instead taken from your memories. You are not merely dreaming, you are remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory, and how they always hastened to use the shower first, so you were last for breakfast. You remember how, when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snapped up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled too to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food, because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for these favors, mind, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies too, many of them wealthier than you. When everybody has their airs and graces of a princess, how is anybody supposed to stand out? You stood out the least in your class, perhaps because you were one of the smallest, the frailest, the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though, when they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, as you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatoire, to carry school bags across the field, like a pack mule. Then, come the evenings, the girls in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and ironing out the creases and wrinkles in their uniforms. If there was an odd job that needed performing, you would always be asked. Sounds like Boy Scout camp. Kinda. Hello, Vampire Miranda. Welcome. Okay. Give me just a moment, guys. I need to check something real quick. I'm here though. I'm not going anywhere. I just need to send a quick message. So basically the girls in her dormitory treated her like crap. So here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, half of this feels like a personal attack against middle school me. Some of it has felt like a personal attack to just me in general. I don't know. It's like slightly oddly relatable. That would have been too civilized. I'm good, Vampire Miranda. Thank you. Oh, sorry. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead, and as they ordered you, they laughed at you. They laughed and they laughed and they laughed. The laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less than the kicks did, and the slaps, and the pinches. Once, during an embroidery lesson, one of your classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least she pretended to, and before you knew it, the silver blades of those scissors were embedded in your left palm. Ouch! That's horrible. This happened quite some time ago, when you weren't even littler than you, when you were even littler than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. Well, yeah. The scissors were sharp and they perforated your skin, not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red like strawberry jam all over your embroidery. Same, but middle school me is the worst version of me. Isn't middle school, like everyone's middle school age, like the worst versions of all of us? I feel like everyone gets like a little, brings out like the worst of themselves during middle school, and then you know. Okay, I would have started drawing hands. I think like at least like if this is supposed to be like a conservatory, there are professors. It was during a lesson. They should have done something. Yeah, it is a sad story. Oh, speaking of the professor, then when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned as pale as way, and she looked for a few moments as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. Your professor looked at your face. She could not bear to look at your hand, then demanded to know why could you not be more careful. What the fuck? Her tone had been an accusatory one, almost as if you had stabbed yourself in the hand with your scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt, but the giggles of your persecutors hurt all the more. They never were punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everybody else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when all was said and done, was not too deep. You did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time on its own, though it still left a scar, a white, raised thing, like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You do not know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You could smell it in the air, sharp as iron, but it could not have been that much, evidently. If your wound had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did. But this seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If you meant next to nothing, then the blood in your veins was, if such a thing was possible, even more inconsequential. I don't know, I would go full vigilante, an eye for an eye. I mean, understandable, but I feel like they would have just like punished her instead of the perpetrator, because unfortunately, usually, people just end up punishing the person who defended themselves. For some reason. Great teacher, right? I would take the eyes. I think that's a little more drastic, Con. I love your outfits. Thank you. You feel disoriented when you awake, at long last, with the rising of the sun. You do not remember what you dreamt, but you do not think that your dreams were of a particularly pleasant nature. This is supposed to be like the narrator narrating what we dreamt of, but it was not a dream. It was our memories. So we were remembering while we were asleep. So they're narrating what we were remembering. Everything is the narrator. So far, we do not have like a first person perspective. It's just a narrator. If they were, your heart would not be hammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. Oh, it looks less creepy now. You are lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? This does not look like your dormitory in the conservatoire, not unless it has shrunk threefold overnight. Your brow furrows as you attempt to recall the events of the night prior, until, with a gasp, it all clicks into place. You remember now. You were running through the woods, trying to escape from... You shudder. You do not want to think of what it was you were trying to escape from. I must know who we were escaping from. Sorry about that. I must know, who were we running away from? Because they said like she. The police? I don't think so. You presume that you must have given your hunter the slip though, because you are still in one piece, awake and alert enough to face the dawning of a new morning. They're after me for the eyes. Oh, let me open the door for my doggo because he wants to go outside. I'm right here though. I'm back. Oh, my neck hurts for some reason. Even though I'm not leaning down. I guess I've been reading a lot today, so that must be it, but... Doggo. You still have all of your limbs, and your facial features appear to be in the correct configuration. Good to know. That is more than enough to be getting along with. You look to the foot of your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. You can see, lying upon the sheets, a garment, two garments actually, of black and white, folded into a neat white square. What could that be? A maid's outfit? If so, it would not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit with the princess the night prior, and her assertions that you must be her lady's maid. Well, if that's the role she wants you to assume, you have no qualms with it. It is far preferable to the other role you played last night, that of a startled quarry running from its pursuer. You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. It feels surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. These clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them there? If so, that is all the more reason to wear them. You are not churlish enough to deny her hospitality. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. You rise from your new bed, then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. This task accomplished, you then clad yourself in your new attire, black, white, and eminently sensible. You feel very far away from the girl that you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you seems to have changed. You are no longer a student, not as long as you need to reside within the princess's castle. You would far rather be her servant. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber, then make your way to your mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one, with many, many rooms and many hallways to connect them. And for a brief while, you find yourself horrendously lost. You cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. You are beginning to feel rather disoriented I can't read. You are beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon a stairwell which looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You ascend these steps, your footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them, then find your way down the very same hall you traversed the night prior. If your memory does not fail you, then the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, it is here. You rap upon the door but receive nothing in the way of a response. Is the princess still abed? You wonder briefly whether you oughtn't wait until she has risen of her own accord. But no. The sun is high in the sky, and it would seem a shame to let the princess sleep through the day. You ought instead to rouse her. That seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should attend to. You enter the princess' bedroom and glance about. Her room looks much the same as you remember it from the night prior, though the ceiling seems even higher when viewed in the one morning's light. You can see now that there are fewer shadows to impede your view, how very opulent your young mistress's abode is. Her armoire is large and imposing, and is the grade in which you will be expected to keep a fire lit during the nights. The princess herself, meanwhile, is curled on her side beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose than her title would suggest. She is attired in the nightgown adorned with frills, and her hair is split across her pillow like spilled gold. In her slender arms... Oh! I missed that. Where's the history? Do we not have a history? In her slender arms, meanwhile, held to her chest, is a doll, the very same one she was cosseting last night. You suppose this doll must be her favorite. Idly, you wonder what the doll's name is, though you do not suppose it matters that much. It is time to wake your mistress. You call out to the princess, but she is largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are still soon tightly shut and her lips burst in slumber. You purse your lips too and sigh. Well, nobody ever said your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess, and this time she replies. Her response is not a favorable one, however. She sighs, then turns away from you, her doll clutched to her chest. Just give me a little longer. Oh! Okay. The princess sounds so enfeebled, but you do not take pity on her. If you have learned anything from the conservator, save your knowledge pertaining the respiratory tracts of fish, is that one must be cruel to be kind. You do not think this adage was practiced with any great success in the conservator, but perhaps it will have more of an impact upon the princess. Sorry, I coughed a little bit. You tell her once again to wake up, more sternly this time. You will not let her sleep, for she has slept long enough already. It is very slovenly, really, to still... Oh, it is still slovenly, really, to still be abed at such an hour. Oh, defeated, the princess sighs. Alright, I can see that I can't twist you around my little finger. I'm up, you don't need to nag me. Once you have roused the princess from her bed, you have to put her doll to one side. You set it upon her toilet. You aid the princess in brushing her hair, a chore which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow its fur to be brushed. You allow yourself to ponder as you run the bristles of the princess's brush through her hair, how wonderfully soft and freely feels against your skin. But a curious query from the princess, "Are you alright, dear one?" brings you back to your senses. You are rather lost in thought there. Look lively now. You wouldn't want the princess to catch wind of your salacious thoughts, would you? I thought you had learned your lesson about that already. Huh. Suitably chastened, you finish with the princess's hair, then set the brush aside. Now that the princess's tresses have been taken care of, you must now start on her attire. The princess remains seated upon the edge of her bed, looking up at your askance. She does not ask you to avert your eyes, and nor does she make any motion of divesting herself of her nightgown. It really does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on your own. Is that alright? You ask the princess as much. You will not wish to impinge upon her modesty, but she only laughs. Based. Yes, that's alright if it's what you're supposed to do if you're to be my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed and undressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it. She might not be squeamish about it, but you are. You have never seen a naked woman before excepting yourself. Even then, however, you have always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body for longer than is strictly necessary. You have never much liked the way that you look. You make a few more mumble objections, but the princess sweeps them to one side easily. It's alright. I might be a princess, but we're both people underneath all of our clothes. I doubt we look much different. I mean, probably, maybe. You are not sure about that. You have not yet seen the princess unadorned, but you already know to look at her face that you are different. She's much prettier than you are, but she is waiting, and you do not wish to keep her any longer. You must steady your nerves. Then, you reach out with trembling hands, and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. I'm getting scared that I might need to I don't know. You work as quickly as you are able, which, given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble with a couple of the buttons, flinching as you do so. The princess, however, seems blissfully unaware of what it is exactly you are doing, or not doing, for your fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. She's not even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond your shoulder, to the windowsill, at the sky beyond it. It isn't particularly sunny, but I don't think it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one? Beast. You think that you would like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible, so you can make some progress on dressing her again. The sight of all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Fortunately, you are able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps, spurred on perhaps by your anxiety. You bid the princess to stand, which she does, and neatly she steps out of her nightgown, her motions once again as graceful, as fluid as a dancer's. This task completed, you search worriedly for the princess's red dress. Where is it? You cannot find it. Sweat begins to prickle on the back of your neck. Your palms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy. The moments pass awkwardly, uneasily, as you search, the princess standing there, all the while, as naked as the day she was born. Does she not wear underwear? Why did you not find her day dress before you stripped her of her night one? What a fool you are! The princess, noting your panic, giggles, then says, "Are you looking for my dress?" "Yes," you reply with your face flushed. "That is what you're doing." "I thought so. I did wonder before you started undressing me why you'd not ask where it was. Maybe it slipped your mind?" It had slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. You were too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bared skin to think about how best to conceal it. "My dress is in my armoire," the princess says, glancing over to the aforementioned piece of furniture. I don't know what is happening, but you know, we're just rolling with it. The armor of hers is an intricately carved wooden structure, large enough or so you estimate, to fit inside enough dresses to attire a whole ballroom's worth of princesses. "I'd like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be a dear and fetch it for me? I do not want to rush you, but it is rather cold in here, especially when I'm still naked. She raises a good point. You turn away from the princess and make your way to her armoire. Once there, you open its wooden doors and pressure the clothes hanging within. It is just as you expected. I take the words. Inside the wardrobe lies numerous dresses, all of them finely sewn and decorated with no shortage of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls. You find the princess's red dress soon enough, then hurry to her side. With your spoils in hand, you hurry to dress her, concealing once again the princess's pale skin beneath layers upon layers of soft red velvet. I'm not sure. Oh wait, where am I? No! What happened? OBS? Why am I gone? I'm still here in OBS. Ooh. Ooh. I still appear in OBS though. What? What is going on? Where am I? Hello? ちょっと待ってね. Maybe if I do a transition to another screen? Let me do this real quick. Woo. Woo. Okay, I'm back apparently. Oh no, that's not the room I wanted. Whoop. Whoop. There's a game. Yeah, I did see that I wasn't there for a moment, but I wonder why. That was weird. Anyway. Hurry to dress her, concealing once again the princess's pale skin beneath layers upon layers of soft red velvet. She's easier to look at now, you think, with her skin concealed. That might have been the most nerve-wracking task you have ever had to accomplish, even more so than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. Why, it seems a small miracle you can still remember how to breathe. That's much better. Don't worry, God. It's okay. I did realize, like, when you mentioned it, I looked at the screen and I wasn't in there. But I don't know why that happened. That was weird. Thank you, dear hon, for your help. You've not been here for a full day, but I already wonder what I'd do without you. The power of intrusive thoughts. Shyly, you assure the princess that you did nothing, really. Nothing beyond your job. You did not do anything incredible. And in any case, being complimented by somebody so pretty is embarrassing. Aw, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I when you've been so helpful? It'd be rude not to, and anyway. I think you're very pretty too. Oh my. Your face flushes from this, more deeply than ever before. You ought to count yourself lucky, really. What with all of this excessive blushing, that the princess does not seem to possess any vampiristic tendencies. Huh. I don't know why I doubt that. You are making yourself quite the easy target. Now, the princess declares, why don't we go for a walk? It is a nice enough day, and I get so very bored of being cooped up inside. Wait, if she's used to being changed, then how long has she been in that dress? No idea, but then again, she had the dress the night before, and when we came in today, she was using her nightgown. So she probably figured it out somehow, because she did not ask us to change her last night. So I don't quite get why she couldn't dress herself. I mean, maybe because that's what I'm supposed to do as her ladies. As her lady, but I'm not sure. You can't think of any particular objections to raise to this remark, and you think that the princess might have a point. The castle, though expensive, is somewhat stifling. The walls are so very thick that you put your mind... They put your mind... The walls are so very thick, they put you in mind of a crypt. I don't know why I couldn't read that. With your questions assured, the princess quits her chamber, her posture elegant and her gait unhurried. I think other than the way she speaks and kind of behaves like in personality, everything else about her is like very royal-like, so I don't know why they were like very harsh on her. But whatever, she seems not to walk as she navigates her way through the seemingly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud. The hem of her dress swishes around her legs, and her hair shifts like a shroud. The castle's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking in comparison to the princess's beauty. The courtyard is fenced in by the castle's walls, which look in the stark midday light, tall and imposing, faceless soldiers standing sentinel. Though the sun is out, it's not particularly bright, and neither is particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It is all rather depressing. The princess's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple, hemmed in to a claustrophobic degree like a coffin. The princess, however, seems not to share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated by her newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. Then why did they have to do it this morning? I don't know. Also, where are all the people? What is happening? I'm not sure. I'm like confused because she said that all her staff just suddenly disappeared. And that's why she was like, oh, you must be my new lady. I knew you would arrive, or they would send someone would come back, or something like that. And then we respond that we were not, but we would do the job anyway. And then she hasn't really, she only mentioned that her parents died and the servants raised her. And pretty much she doesn't know how to do most things. But we don't know why the people disappeared or anything really. And the protagonist, well, the narrator mentioned something about vampiristic traits, so I'm starting to think that maybe she's a vampire. And she might have unalived everyone. You know? But I'm not quite sure yet. She gambols about like a lamb, flitting hither and thither as she examines the weed-infested flower beds. Her frolicking comes to a cease, however, by a bush. One is full of bright red roses. Oh, how very pretty. Did you not think they are gorgeous, dear one? Well, she's out in this... Well, they did say that it was not particularly sunny, but not like dark either. So maybe she can be outside? Also, apparently she's very sheltered, so I don't know. I mean, I know why I can be in the sun because I'm only half, but I'm not sure about her. The flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose. Pretty roses! They make for a fine spectacle, in fact. A welcome splash of color when contrasted with the dullness and the drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in their beds are wilted, withered things, it is not so for these roses. They are a rich bright red, just like blood, their heads so full they seem almost to droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. They are pretty in a sense. But there is something unsettling about them too, something that's almost obscene. Look at the stakes. How did those roses become so very red? What has been sustaining them? Could it be possible that these roses have been draining the life from the flowers, from the other flowers which are struggling to grow within this garden? It is a fanciful thought, but... Oh, hey! Oh, they are simply divine. Looking at the roses always lifts my spirits. They really are my most favorite flowers. I simply must pick some of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedchamber. You could use a bit of color. Okay, so then the rest of the and silver bullets, aren't those for like werewolves? I think the roses are like a parallel. Maybe she did drain the life energy from everyone else. The princess reaches out as to pluck one of the roses free from its resting place amongst its brethren. You watch her, your breath bated, anxious that this gesture might result in perforated flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Of course she's not. Who did you think she was? You? Rather than worrying about other people, you would be better served if you worried more about yourself. Yeah, definitely a vampire. The princess holds her newly pilfered rose to her nose and inhales, her eyelids falling shut as the flower's sweet scent washes over her. A fellow vampire, I see. A few moments of silence pass. Then, the princess begins to toy with the petals which adorn the flower's crown. Now, let me see. I wonder what fate has in store for me. She loves me. Oh no, she's playing loves me not. The princess plucks a petal from the flowers over a burdened head. If a stake through the heart can take one down, a silver bullet through the heart can do the same. Oh, okay. She loves me not. The princess continues with this childlike incantation, all the while stripping her nose slowly and methodically of its petals. No, the poor rose. These petals flutter about the princess like a bloody snow. The princess's voice, meanwhile, echoes throughout the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of a pianola. She loves me not. She loves me not. The princess's fingers hover over the final petal which crowns her nearly denuded flower. Then, with a triumphant smile, she declares, "She loves me! I knew it!" You watch the princess amused by her girlish good cheer. The little mantra she has been reciting is one that you are familiar with. That was sarcasm, but okay. I mean, technically, I could see it working. Like, I know you were being sarcastic, but... technically, I could see it working. Honestly, I don't know what the... measuring system, let's say, is for, like, determining exactly how to take down each species, let's say, other than they tried it once and hey, it worked. But I don't know, maybe we could never know. After all, like, every vampire works differently, apparently. Not all of us work the same. So maybe, yeah, there are vampires that you can take down using, like, silver bullets. The girls of the conservatoire also used to engage in this little game. The younger ones, at least, who believed that a fairytale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself when you were a child yourself, but you never pinned your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Your interest in princes has always been minimal. I say we throw salt at her and see what happens, and garlic. And she squirms like a worm, like, and melts and disappears. When it comes to fair princesses, though, well, that is a difference There's a different matter altogether, isn't it? Pleasantly, you ask the princess whose love is it she wishes to court, a query which makes the princess giggle. Oh dear one, who else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you. Naturally. She says it so easily, as though you ought to have suspected as much, and indeed, part of you did. You wanted to believe, yet part of you was afraid to. You did not want to be arrogant enough to assume that the princess might care for your affections. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost as red as the roses, while the princess laughs. She laughs and she laughs and she laughs, her voice clear and sweet like a nightingale's song, as though you are the funniest thing she has ever seen. You never liked being laughed at when you dwelt within the walls of the conservatoire, but it is different with her. You have not known her for all that long, but you're already entranced by her, ensnared. She has you wrapped around her little finger. And that's how she'll consume my blood. Oh my! The princess's laughter tapers off into a series of giggles as smiling, she wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. It's a trap. It might be. That was quite the amusing diversion, but I just had an idea. You look at the princess curiously. What idea? You can't tell? You cannot even begin to guess. I just thought that all this watching must be boring to you, the princess says, tossing the rose strips stem carelessly to the ground. You should give it a try. Please do. It'll be fun. The princess retrieves the second red rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers, and offers it to you. Stop cutting the poor roses. I want to see what fate has in store for you too. You smile at the princess, touched by her enthusiasm. Indulging in childish games like this might not be the best use of your time, but the princess looks so very determined you would not have wished to hurt her. What could be the harm really in consenting? Is she gonna poison us? The only real casualty of this game will be one singular rose, the rose that the princess is holding towards you. You reach out, meaning to accept the princess's offering, but... Oh no! You are clumsy, and you seize the stem of the rose with a touch too much strength. The head of the rose might be pretty, but there is more to a rose than its bright red flowers. Roses have thorns too, a fact that you are now being painfully reminded of. Oh. Pain flares through your finger and you gasp. If I try this, all I'm getting is a thorn. Well, you can see the future, Con. That is exactly what happened. You take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Your finger is stinging, and so are your eyes. You ought to have been more careful. Why were you so stupid? You poor dear, you're bleeding, the princess exclaims, alarmed. Then she frowns. This is all my fault. If I'd not suggested this silly little game, this never would have happened. Please let me take care of you. And how is she going to do that? Perhaps she means to take a handkerchief from her pocket, which she might staunch your wound. Princesses need to carry handkerchiefs around with them. Don't they? Silken ones? How else would they give brave knights tokens of their gratitude once the aforementioned knights have successfully slain dragons? I don't know, Con. Maybe you can predict the future, you just don't know it. Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favors. It is simply not done. That is what you always thought, but... Please hold still. This might sting a little bit. The princess is anything but ordinary. Rather than take the handkerchief out of her pocket, she instead encloses her white slender fingers around your hand. Carefully, as though she is handling a precious object, she raises your hand, her eyes fixed all the while on the beads of startlingly crimson blood, which are oozing luridly from your womb. She licks her lower lip. Then she dips her head. She parts her mouth, and with a soft sigh, which borders on the sensuous, she slips your injured digit between her teeth. So much for princesses not dispensing kisses as token of appreciation. No, kind. That's not the kind of future prediction we want. This might not be a conventional kiss, but feels intimate regardless, almost startlingly so. The princess's lips, which are as red as any rose, are enclosed around your index finger. You can feel the warmth of the princess's mouth about your skin, and the wetness of it. These sensations make your whole body quake. You did not expect this. Tremulously, in a voice which wavers, you ask the princess what it is she's doing. Oh? The princess glances up at you, her mouth still enclosed around your finger. Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding. That's a very particular way to try to stop the bleeding. Yes, you gather as much, but is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? It is not, you say, that she is making you uncomfortable, per se. But this is rather awkward. You did not expect this at all. And she is not worried that this is unhygienic? Unhygienic? The princess blinks. She is the very picture of innocence, which is funny really, given your finger is still nestled against her tongue. I don't know what you mean by that exactly. But I've heard this is the best way to take care of cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child. It's what you're supposed to do. And you ask, your voice catching your throat. Did her nursemaid keep staunching her woods with her mouth when she grew older? Well, no, but my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I had my lady's maids to look after me then. How very interesting. And did they ever clean her wounds like this? No, the princess says, smiling mischievously, because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself silly. Now that was quite the sharp retort. We're all going to die one day. I mean, true. Oh yeah, definitely a vampire. I'm starting to think either a vampire or maybe she likes tasting people. Like maybe cannibalism or something. That's the only other like conclusion I can reach other than like vampire. But oh, there it is. Your face turns even redder, if such a thing is possible though. This might perhaps be to your benefit. With some luck, all of your blood will flow to your face rather than to your finger, and your bleeding will stop. Has it stopped? Your injury was not a deep one. There should be no need for the princess to keep suckling, but she still is. You are not accustomed to intimacy of this nature. It is making your heart flutter. If the princess knew what her mouth was doing to you, you are sure she would not be so very familiar. You feel quietly, crushingly confident that she would scorn you for your feelings and deem them unnatural. It would not be the first time. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stings though. It stings much, much more than any thorn or any rose ever could. So, the days pass, following your misadventures in the rose garden in a relaxed and hurried sort of manner. That would explain why all of the people are gone and not more vampire, right? Your mad dash through the forest It's beginning to feel like a distant memory. So much so, you can scarcely recall the raw, naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. There is no running to be had while you are working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run, and in any event, there is no longer any reason to run. The shadows which once tormented you have, at long last, begun to recede. You can scarcely recall as you lay down in your bed the petty cruelties you were subjected to by your classmates at the conservatoire. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused not upon yourself but upon the princess. The more time you expend with her, the more you come to care for her. You have become quite besotted with her, but you are yet to realize it. I mean, no worries, Con. My reading seems to get worse for some reason. Every time we do one of these. Well, I never. What? You have become quite besotted with her, but you are yet to realize it. Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her own feelings? The princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though, despite having spent her whole life within the palace walls. The weight of her own feelings are not unknown to her, and during one stormy night, she chooses to make them known to you. You are in the princess's chambers later, perhaps than you ought to be, later than is strictly appropriate. It is dark outside, and there is little save the light of the moon to alleviate that. To alleviate it. That and the fire which crackles in the grate. You have only just finished stoking that very fire, and now you rise. You look to the princess, who is lying in her bed, and you bid her a good night, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause. Wait, dear one. Do not go just yet. Not just yet. I don't know what they're eating. I mean, they said that... the princess mentioned a kitchen when she gave her the tour the first night. And then after that, I don't know if they had like enough food to just go by as is or something. I mean, if she is indeed a cannibal and ate the whole village or like cooked it, maybe she has a lot of meat for days. I don't know. Perplexed, you pause, then look back at the princess. Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually wan. Is she alright? Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, which make me feel a little... out of sorts. And what, you ask, does she mean by that? Only that it is very cold and very dark. And it is very windy besides. I'm afraid there'll be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier when we went out for our walk. The princess is not mistaken about that. The sky when the pair of you promenaded about the gardens earlier was grey and steely, the wind bitingly cold. You can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone, and and it is well fortified. But even with the fire, it is rather cold. You do not like to think of how much chillier by comparison it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace. It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me feel uncomfortable. You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly uncommonly vulnerable. Will she really be alright all alone in her oversized bed and her high-ceiling bedchamber? You know it's silly of you to implicate such a query. Why should she not be alright? There is nobody in the castle to hurt her, but still, you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. It did have a fireplace in the picture, but maybe it doesn't technically? You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what is it she would have you do, and the princess perks up at this, pleased, perhaps, that you are taking the initiative. Oh, I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time when it's so very late. But would you mind sitting with me a little longer? And reading to me, provided that you can, of course? This is a fair enough question, but your pride bristles regardless. Hastily, you assured the princess that yes, of course you could read. You were a poor student in many aspects of the conservatoire, but you had something of a gift when it came to literary arts. Reading books is all you ever have been any good at. Oh, I see. I suppose you should have known. You're so incredible. I wonder if there's anything you can't do. The princess' high praises makes you flush. Awkwardly, you look away. Being able to read, you assure her, is not such a great feat. But it is, though. Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read the books that I like. This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books exactly she likes. Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see. Old ones from centuries past. I have a collection of them here, the princess says, indicating a book on her bedside table, as thick as a mortuary slab. You know, Con, you mention that so often that I'm starting to believe it. And I'm worried about that. Multiple teachers have asked if I have a reading disability. Huh. Then how? Interesting. I have a collection of them here. The book is old though, and the bindings are weak. The pages brittle. The writing woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book, but I think you would do a good job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading them to me just for a brief while? Please, dear one. Oh, please. Which I don't, I'm just... No, Con! The princess's request seems a simple one expressed sweetly. So much so, you see no reason to refuse her. Did you think I was joking? Kind of? You know, like the whole... intrusive thoughts thing and all of that. Also, I mean, there's probably ways, but maybe in my mind it's just like ingrained, like, in order to write, you also need to read, because that's how you understand how grammar works. But that just might be a me thing. Like my own idea of how reading works, I guess. The princess's request seems a simple one expressed sweetly, so much so you see no reason to refuse her. You take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then you retrieve who said that was a joke? I mean, you know what I mean. You then retrieve the leather-bound book, which is resting upon her bedside table, and spread it open. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. You can feel in the heft of the book's mainful pages, the weight of the age is concealed within it. How old is this book? Perhaps it is as old as the castle in which it resides. It is with a quiet voice, hesitant at first, that you begin to read to the princess, a tale of courtly love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. Ooh. I can read and write, I'm just bad at it. Oh, then, that's fine. Like, As you can see, I have problems reading oftentimes out loud. So I don't think that's, you know, to an extent, uncommon. All the while as you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging or so it seems, upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase, embossed upon the pages of this aged tome, and they lived happily ever after, the princess sighs, as though this tale has touched her very soul. Would that there was a handsome prince to marry me, she says somberly, or better yet, a beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even settle for a lowly scullery maid. Scullery maid. You blush at this idle remark and mumble softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you have never been one to raise your voice. You do not expect, therefore, that the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against her pillows, and says, "And what would be the problem with that, hmm? As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of property? Property. Well, it's your second language is my first. Sometimes I can't read in Spanish either, honestly. Like, I think it's just my way of, like, I act faster than I think most times, and so I don't, like, give it, like, a pre-read, like, to the text. I just read as I go, and that's why I, like, end up making many mistakes. But that just happens even in Spanish. Because when I talk, sometimes I just forget words, but I can talk properly. But when I'm reading, I'm like, because I stumble upon myself because I'm reading faster than my eyes are, like, let's say, like, taking in the words, you know? Well, of course, you reply, but for a princess to marry a scullery maid. You're still hung up about that? The princess titters. Don't pay it too much heed. I'm just talking to myself. As if anything like that would ever happen, when there is no priest around who would officiate it. You think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. True, there is no one around apparently. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find somebody that she loves, there would be nobody to make such a wedding official. I just do I don't think. Honestly, same sometimes. You cannot help but feel like you have avoided a good deal of nuisance. But by the same token, do you not feel a touch disappointed? Oh no, we can't marry the pretty princess, oh gee. Well, never mind. That was a nice story, the princess says, but I'm not sleepy yet, and it's still storming outside. Won't you read me one more? You would not mind, you reply, but it is getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber. I know, but can you find it in your heart to read one more story to me? Just one. You can choose a short one. I won't complain. You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she is a princess, though that is, of course, a part of it, but because she is, well, radiant. You would not, you think, as you turn to the next story recounted in this age compendium, want to upset her. You would rather cut out your own tongue. That doesn't sound healthy. You read another story to the princess which is of a familiar vein to the last. Impossible adventures culminating at their close in a happy marriage. This tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior, and she begs for another, then another. One bedroom story soon becomes 5, And even then, when the candles which flicker on the princess's bedside are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of moderation. When she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it. Her only request, that of more. Oh. Like maybe with food? If she were less comely, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no would be seen as a character defect. The princess is very comely, however, and so, when she makes her next request, you almost agree offhand without considering the ramifications. What is that word? Comely. No. Google Translate, please hurry. Comely. Come on, Google Translate, help me. So like me. Comely. Okay. Oh, it's gentle. Or handsome. Or beautiful. Okay. I had never heard like that. I forgot the name of the word. What was the name of that word? It's like a different way of like, or a different word that has the same meaning. What was the name of that? I even forgot it in Spanish. What was the name of those words? Synonyms. Yeah, synonyms. I had never heard of like that synonym before. I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own in this big empty bed, so... I know! The princess's eyes light up in like the night sky in a thunderstorm. Why don't you sleep with me? I think it took you long enough to request that. I was like kind of expecting that after the second story. You stare at the princess, your eyes white as goose eggs. Slowly, you blink. Then, just as slowly, you bid her to repeat herself. Didn't you hear me? The princess giggles. Maybe you've been so busy cleaning up after me you've neglected to clean out your own ears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me? If that is the question she truly means to ask, then it is easy enough to answer. Of course you would like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. But would it really be alright for you to accept such an invitation? It must be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share a bed with a princess. You sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting while she observes with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting. Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be... The princess's lower lips begins to tremble. Don't you want to lie with me after all? The sorrow present in the princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly you console her. You tell her, in no uncertain terms, that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Why would you? Well then, don't you stand there dilly-dallying, silly. Come and join me. Come. And that is what you do, after returning briefly to your own chamber to change into your nightgown. Once dressed, you waste no time in returning to your impetuous princess's side. Impetuous. She is already lying in her glorious four-posted bed, awaiting your return as though you are a knight-errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. The princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you've made a hash of the buttons, and she bids you to come closer. Let me fix that for you, silly. Oh no, you say. I couldn't possibly let you do that. I am but a servant after all. Should it not be your job to dress her? Maybe so, the princess says. But I don't mind it a bit of a role reversal if it makes things more fun. You try a few more refutations, but in vain. The princess summarily discards all of them. Quite at the princess' mercy. She might even be more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to her demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your nightdress, then rebutton them, so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very elegant hands. The princess draws back and pats the mattress beside her. Now come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these sheets are warm. Coyly, the princess smiles. And so am I. You feel warm yourself as you slid into the bed beside the princess. Oh my. Your face is as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle grounds. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know that what an effect she is having on you? Surely she must. How could any woman be so blind? There! The princess exclaims once your body is lying beside hers. That is much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one? You swallow and with a shaky voice, you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You are quite cozy indeed. Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us here. I know when I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but the princess reaches out and takes your hand in hers, tuning your fingers together like a chain. When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. I'll take very good care of you, I promise. You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though something about her promise does make you wonder. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic? In a way, the princess replies after a pause, but you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vassals. It's all part of the job description. You were unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms to sign than, say, becoming a doctor or an astrophysicist or a mathematics professor. You tell the princess this sleepily, and she laughs. You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it. Yes, you think only half conscious. You think you deserve it too. You have been working hard for a long time, have been running for even longer. But now, at long last, you feel like you can let your fears go. Your eyelids begin to droop, your body bullet-guarded by a sudden, all-consuming fatigue. And in a quiet, understated sort of way, your consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus' kingdom. Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wild cats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to the death, but you do not hear it. Swaddled by the warm blankets around you, and soothed by the princess's presence, you are immune from all the ills of the world. When you're with a princess, you feel safe, secure, and, yes, you even feel loved. It is a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for very long. Oh, you know that something is wrong, catastrophically so, the moment you open your eyes. Oh no! I felt my heart drop. Your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you are certain that, when you fell asleep, it was in a bed. A nice warm bed, no less. Beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You are not lying in the bed right now, though. You are not, in fact, lying at all. Are we chained up? You are standing instead, against a cold, hard wall made of stone. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimately you can feel its icy chill seeping through the fabric of your nightgown. Yep. She was evil all along. Goodbye, happy ending, right? Like, I think we were all kind of suspecting that everything will go, like, wrong at some point, but I was expecting to maybe have a choice to be like, hey, if I am nice to her, she will be nice to me too. But if I am not nice to her, or I talk to her a certain way, then I'll end up like this. But no. It didn't matter anyway. Well, just when we were having a nice moment, dang it. Your nightgown, yeah. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You are trembling so much you can feel your teeth chattering together. They sound like castanets. The sound is almost jaunty as it echoes through your cell, for that is indeed where you are. I had a small hope that maybe she wouldn't kill us. Me too. Me too. It was like, then are like the different paths you take, like the different endings, like the different routes, but no. Man. The princess's bedchamber, wherein you fell asleep, is a thing now of the past. You are standing instead, you realize, with a sharp start, in the cell of some great underground dungeon. The intrusive thoughts always win. You swallow, and when you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with anxiety. Don't puke, please. You feel like you're going to be sick, a feeling which wells up inside you, to a staggering degree, when you catch notice of the stench. Oh. You are not, you realize, the only one in the dungeon. There are others here. Others attired in the simple black and white outfits of servants, which look much like the dress that you once wore. The others who are with you, however, in this expensive cell, manacled to the walls, are in no fit state to speak to you, nor to tell you of their plights. They are all unfeeling, unseeing, unbreathing. They are all dead. You cannot approach these servants to check their pulses for you yourself or restrained, but even if you could, there would be no point. There is no way any human could survive the wounds which have been inflicted upon these sad, slumped bodies. I like how she describes them as like the bodies are still like they have flesh and stuff upon them, but in the picture it's just skeletons. Over there, you see a woman slumped, the front of her once white apron stained with blackish blood. There is a gaping wound on her stomach, one through which her entrails have in some sort of burgundy goop which might once have been pale pink. There is another woman slumped beside the first of a smaller stature. She is skinnier. Maybe she is not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might be even younger. The girl's age, or lack of it, did not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon her horrors. Alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with even more wheals, and her face has been half smashed in. Only one eye remains, staring fixedly at the wall opposite her, in the ruined remains of what was once her skull. Over there, you see a woman who is missing both her arms and her lower jaw. Over there, you see another one who is missing her entire lower half. So she is a cannibal. She's not a vampire, she's a cannibal. Where have her legs gone? Maybe she never had legs like me. You have no idea. The injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You know not how long these carcasses have been laying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. If fear a similar fate might befall you, should you stay here. You need to escape. Fitfully, you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Your restraints are much too strong, and you are much too weak. Panic rises up in your throat, cold and icy, while terror seizes your heart. This too, glacial. It is obvious that escape is impossible, but you still squirm and writhe, like a rat caught in a firestorm. There is little point, however, to your struggles. You succeed in nothing as you attempt to free yourself, save making the steel manacles dig into your abused wrists more sharply than ever. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you ought to have known that would not work. The very definition of insanity is, you know, performing a set of action over and over again hoping for a different response. In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not very different from insanity. Now, that is an interesting point to consider, would you not agree? No, evidently not. You are still trying to escape, you foolish girl, as if that will do you any good. I was sure I heard a noise somewhere, and I got startled, but my doggo isn't here. And there's no one around me, so... You're still trying to escape, you foolish girl, as if that will do you any good. The clangorous rattling of your steel restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. You are making enough noise to raise the dead down here, in your dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish that you would cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Not that you have ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you would listen to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Look now. She has come all this way into the dark depths of the castle's cold, inhospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her? I wonder if her crown is made of bones. Then... Oh, dear one! The princess trails, entering the dungeon with a series of light lilting steps. It would seem you have finally awoken. How are you? I say we try to pull them off the walls. They have to be rusty now. Maybe? Based on all that infernal racket you've been making, it would seem like you have no shortage of energy. Balefully you turn your head, so as to meet the eyes of the princess. She is standing but a few paces away beneath a roughly hewn stone arch which bids one entry, but rarely ever an exit to the dungeons. The dungeons are dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favorite red dress. It is so bright and brilliant that, for a few moments, it hurts you to look at her. Once, the red of the princess's outfit made you think of romance. Now, it makes you think of violence. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That wasn't fair of me. I did think of waiting here with you by your side until you woke up, but... Once again, the princess giggles, a light, airy giggle which does not at all suit the situation in which you have found yourself. A dungeon is not a fit place after all for a princess. It is horribly cold here. It's so very drab, and there is nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down for my bed, I suppose, and my blankets. But they would have gotten all dirty, and that would be a disaster. I need to be more careful. I won't have anybody left to clean up after my messes soon. Not when I dispatch you. Once again, the princess laughs. Her laughter is light and lifting and lilting. Lilting. Like the chiming of a silvery bell, but it does little to alleviate your concern. If anything, it makes you feel even more alarmed. Did she say she meant to dispatch of you? Yes, that's right. Could you not tell? I thought you might have figured it out already after waking up in the dungeon, silly. Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. Would that you could. You would cringe away from her, but you cannot. You are completely powerless. The princess reaches out and places a hand upon your cheek. Her skin is very white, and though her touch is cool, it is less so than the frigid air in the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. You wish she would keep holding you. You wish she could keep touching you. You luxuriate in her kindness as best as you can. But though the princess's caresses are tender, your circumstances rather undermine them. How can you relax like this? Ha, you're such a good girl, the princess says, in a cajoling sort of voice, as one might address a cat. You've been so lovely to me while we've been together. I really couldn't ask for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled. Why then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable though it sounds, she must be the one who changed you up. There is nobody else in the castle who could have committed such a feat. Everybody else is dead. Why, yes, how very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all of this, naturally. Naturally, she says, as though her betrayal is a matter of course. Naturally. Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you? Oh, only what I've done to all of my other servants. I have experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry, I'll take good care of you. And by take good care of, she means... Naturally, I'll kill you. There it is again. That word, which seems grossly inappropriate given all which has transpired. Naturally. There is nothing natural about this. Do you not think so? The princess examines you, her expression ponderous. It's natural to me, even if it isn't natural to other people. This just feels right. Imprisoning her servants in the dungeon and letting them die? Yes, exactly. There's a bit more to do it than that, though. Oh, of course there is. I like you, dear one, the princess says, in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious. You have been good to me, like I said, and kind. For that, I will be eternally appreciated. You have been so good to me, in fact, that simply being with you is not enough. Not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I am a greedy, selfish girl, you see. The princess's smile widens into something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fervor you have never before witnessed. And I don't want to feel you beside me. Oh, I want to feel you inside me. Well, of all the things your charming captive could have said, you did not expect that. The princess, perhaps noticing your confusion, begins to giggle, a giggle even lighter than meringue, and just as airy. It is just as inoffensive. I can see that you do not understand, dear one, but you aren't the only one. My last lady's maid said that too. Wanley, the princess sighs. A beleaguered woe is me sigh, which makes her look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses. And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought that you at least might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at the world is a little bit unique. That's why my nurse always used to say, at least, when she still had the breath to speak, of course. You look at the princess. Where else is there for you to look, really? Your eyes are fixed to her face. She's still smiling, but there is something sinister about her smile. Or perhaps, in your anxious state, you are only imagining that there is something sinister about her smile. It is easy to see things which do not really exist when your surroundings are festooned in shadows. In actuality, however, the princess does not look any different to how she usually does. Neither is she acting any different than she usually acts. She has not changed. It is only your perspective of her that has changed. Tremulously, you ask the princess what she means, a question the princess is only happy to answer. It's simple, really. Like I said, you were wondering, weren't you, why there weren't any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here? The question had crossed your mind, yes. You are sure the princess said her minister sent them away, though? Was that a lie? I wasn't being wholly truthful, no. I thought you would be afraid of me if you knew that what had actually happened, and I didn't want that. I wanted you to stay with me. My ministers didn't send anybody away because I don't have any ministers. I dispatched of them too. Did she now? I suppose you ought not to be surprised, but you still shudder regardless. My ministers weren't very much fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas about what I should do and shouldn't do after my parents died. The princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes, empty, yawning abysses. So I killed them. I killed my servants too, though I did a more thorough job with them than I did my ministers. I did not care for my ministers, you see. They were all fusty old men, but I did love my servants. I loved my ladies' maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large retinue of retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. Does that follow? ちょっと待ったね。Sorry guys, I had to step away for a second there. I'm back. Okay. Not logically, no. Why, you ask the princess, your voice trembling, would you eat the people that you love? It seems a poor way to repay them for their kindness. Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there could be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude. Unless you have any better ideas? You weren't expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded, you stare at her. Still, like, I don't think that's the way? Question mark. You know, precious little, you know precious little about love yourself, so it is hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you muster up a few token arguments. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, and neither is it strictly legal. A better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be increased wages or increased holidays. The princess listens to your arguments. Her expression is astute, like a student poised to take notes in a very important lecture. Once you are finished, however, her concentration fails her. Her shoulders begin to shake, but it is not with remorse for what she has done. Instead, she is laughing. Oh, dear one, that was very funny, but why should I care about the law? I'm a princess. One day I'll be the queen. I am the law. That statement is very concerning, Con. Probably true crime or something like that. That is a good point, but would eating people not turn her subjects against her? What subjects? I'm no fool, you know. No matter how I may act, and I know what happens beyond the castle's walls. I know all about the plague. There is a plague! See, Con! Once, I may have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess in nothing but name only. A monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely. If she feels lonely, then why has she been systematically slaughtering all of her domestics? It doesn't make a lick of sense. Perhaps not to you. Gently, the princess caresses your cheek. But I shouldn't judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you're a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts. Privately, you doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess's thoughts process, largely because it is unreasonable. You did not say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question you can think to ask, with your weary throat, which is sore from shouting. Why? Why, you ask? The princess blinks. It's because I don't want you to leave me, of course. Everybody leaves sooner or later, whether they have pledged their alliance to me or not. That is simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconstant, even to me, a monarch. That is why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me. When you think about it, they should be grateful that I would demean myself so, to consume their flesh and blood. I am a magnanimous ruler, you see, and I treat all of my subjects equally. I love every single one of you. And naturally, I love you too. You have been awfully nice to me, and you are very pretty alongside it. If you were a plain ugly girl, perhaps I would have showered you with affection quite as intense as this, but you've captured my heart. I think you're lovely. So I'll bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine. Then we can stay together forever and ever. The princess leans in. You can feel her soft silken hair brushing against your cheeks. You can feel, too, the warmth of her breath as it goes against your skin. It is cold in the dungeon, but the princess's close proximity is perverse, though this might sound something of a comfort. Her eyes are wide and her lips are so red. Her smile, meanwhile, is so sweet. I've been doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, But really? The princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are like two dark tarns. Finally, you think you can see, in the alarming lack of light, the lack of anything, in the princess's gaze, a degree of humanity. It gets so lonely here. But this brief flicker of understanding, which passes between the pair of you, is soon cut short. The princess dips her head. Oh no, she's gonna bite me! She parts her lips, which are as red as the petals of a carnivorous flower. You feel the princess's breath against your neck. It is warm in the icy chill of the dungeons, and you shudder from it. For a few moments, you think that this overture of the princess's could be romantic, in a way, but this too comes to a swift, merciless close. Ah! Oh no, there are munching sounds. That's horrible. The princess's mouth is on your neck. The princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh. The princess is draining your blood. She is supping on it in great, greedy goblets, like a hungry animal, one who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Even as the princess sups from you, her arms twine around your waist, you find you cannot hate her. She is far too unworldly. You are sure, as your conscience begins to fade, that the princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love for her past servants. This is simply the way the princess expresses this great love of hers, a love which is so very abundant, it borders upon the monstrous. It is a love you never thought that you would ever experience. This love of the princess eclipses anything you have ever known before. It eclipses sanity. It eclipses reason. It eclipses all notions you might have once had of right and wrong. The princess, as you know full well, does not care about such concepts. Yum. No, go Baba. No, not yum. I mean, blood is tasty, but just blood itself, not the flesh. You have always possessed a stubborn core. You have always possessed a stubborn core, nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior, but the princess is even stubborner than you are. In the face of her love, you have met your match. Well, it doesn't let me do anything, so I mean, she's chained to the wall, and she's not fighting back anymore, so like, I can't do much. The princess draws back. Desperately, you gasp for air, but she does not give you any quarter. As before, she dips her head, her red lips redder, still with your blood, then splits apart her jaw. Her teeth, which are impossibly inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly like knives. Then, she tears out your throat. The front of your nightgown was white once. Now it's red. There is so much blood you can smell it when you inhale, sharper than metal. It is so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You try to inhale, but this tax proves to be beyond you, what with the twin perforations that have ruptured your skin. You attempt breaths when they escape your lips, sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Your whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it is on fire. You make for quite a sorry sight indeed, but you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace? Or will you try to fight against it? I can't fight! Okay, hold on a second, guys. had a sip of water. Okay, so we can fight back. Maybe? Hopefully? Let's fight against our fate. This is a good answer, I must admit. I like it. It is impressive how very defiant you can be, even in situations as discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story. Like all fair maidens, you are deserving of your own happy ending. You need only the strength to try and seek it out. Why don't we give this another go? Just try not to ensnare the hearts of any more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. You are destined for far higher purposes than being an entourage, or is it entourage? And there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world. Okay. Your fate is once again in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? Oh, okay. So I didn't need really to save here, huh? Okay, interesting. So at the end of the day, like, we couldn't really fight her. It's just that they took, like, the narrator, whoever they are, took us back to the branch point where we get to choose where to go. Huh. Interesting. So, not what I was expecting, but I'm kind of liking it. Boo. I mean, it was that or accept our fate. I think accepting our fate is worse. But we might have to try it out in the future. Who knows? But for now, I think that will be it for today, guys. We do have another playthrough of this on Saturday, but I'm still... If I do stream it on Saturday, it's probably gonna be in the morning, or at noon-ish, rather than during the evening, because I do have something I need to do. I think I talked about this. It's the D&D thing. But yeah, later that day. So it's either gonna be in the morning or I'll push it to Sunday. I'm still determining that. But yeah, with that was an interesting story. I like where this is going. I'm interested. I don't like the cannibalism part. It piqued my interest. And I'm excited to see where it goes. So yeah. With that, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you enjoy it somehow. And I'll be seeing you on Friday with Deltarune. We're continuing our genocide run, which made me very depressed. I'm still very sad about that. But anyway, with that, I'll see you on Friday with Deltarune, okay? I also still need to see if I can squeeze in at the end of the month another Ballads at Midnight stream. But yeah, the intrusive thoughts won a lot, so I'm happy. Okay. At least we had that. But yeah. Anyway. Bye bye guys. See you on Friday. Bye. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me and enduring cannibalism, I guess. With me.